Hi, today we're going to be taking a look at how to engrave a glass Christmas ornament using your M1 and your RA tool. So let's get started. Okay, let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to make sure we have the right mode selected. We're going to pick laser cylindrical because we're going to be using the RA tool and we're going to be using a round object. So quickly I go in and I click auto measure just to make sure I have my ornament in my tool set up right where I want it. It picked up the measurement, okay, and I'm going to switch to chuck. The chuck mode allows you to grab the neck of the ornament. When you use chuck, you need to be able to specify either the perimeter or the diameter. We measured that with a caliper earlier. So I'm going to pick some artwork that I had already planned for decorating the ornament. It's a PNG file. I'm going to quickly import that using the image tool. Once I have it in, I can click edit image, and I'm just going to do that to crop it so it doesn't have that kind of wasted white space around it. The image is or does have a transparent background. So using the crop tool, I'm going to use that to draw a smaller box around the image. And I can probably make it a little bit tighter. So I just do it a second time just to bring it in a little bit closer. I click save, and now my image is all set and ready to position. With the tool, the RA tool, when you're in cylindrical mode, you position your image up to the yellowish orange line. It doesn't center over it or go on the other side of it. It's always to the right side of the line. Next thing I'm going to do is show you a little trick for centering multiple objects. So I looked at the perimeter, it's 204 millimeters. I'm going to draw a small rectangle, or a thin rectangle, and I'm going to set the width exactly to the perimeter, the 204 millimeters. I'm going to change the width manually here to 204. And what that's going to allow me to do is it's going to allow me to put in a second object, whether it be text or a second image, and align it perfectly so it's 180 degrees away from the other object. I'm going to rotate this image around because the way that the Christmas ornament is oriented, we want it to be facing the right direction. I'm going to scale this down a little bit so it fits or is centered on the middle of the ball. And I'm going to move the rectangle right to the middle of my first object, and that's going to allow me to do the spacing. So I wanted to put some text over on this ornament over on the other side. So I'm going to go and add some text now. Try Merry Christmas. This is usually how I do text when I have multiple lines. I'll do the first word, I'll pick the font that I like, I'll kind of get my idea of how I want to size it. And once it's kind of close to where I want it, I copy it and paste it. And that way I know I'm using the same size or font point. I'm going to use the align tool here to align the two of them on their center axis. I'm going to move it up so it's a little bit tighter. Once that's all set, I'm going to combine the two objects into one so they stick together. You can also use group. I'm going to rotate this 180 degrees as well. Now I'm going to use the trick that I mentioned with the rectangle. I'm going to find the center of the rectangle. Again, I'm going to use the line tool and click horizontal align. And that's going to put this object exactly in the center of this rectangle, which should position it equidistant or opposite of the image that I first started with. So now I can turn off that rectangle using the output tool, or you can move it off to the side. Okay, so now we're ready to see how it aligns on the ornament. So I click process, and you can see that I can only see, or I'm not seeing my Merry Christmas. And the reason for that is because you can see it's off of the viewable area there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reset my bulb, my Christmas bulb, and I pushed it a little bit further towards the front of the machine, and that allows me to take my whole design and make it so that both objects are visible on the screen. So I'm just going to move them over together as one object because I still want to keep the alignment. I could still use the rectangle again if I needed to, but from here I'm just going to move them as one since I've already set up the alignment. Just going to tweak it a tiny bit further over. Just eyeball it with my guide, my rectangle guide. You can see that the two of them are still aligned. So they should be still 180 degrees off. So I'm going to click process. I'm going to quickly check the framing to make sure everything looks the way I want over at my M1. Oh, double check my settings here. I found for the Christmas bulbs, 10% power, 100 millimeters per second, and don't forget to set your lines per centimeter to 200. That gives you better detail on the fine glass. Try that one more time. I'm going to set my framing settings down because I don't want the laser to accidentally score the very delicate paint on the Christmas ornament. And when I'm all done framing, I'm ready to get started. When my framing is all set, I press start and then head over to my M1 and press the action button and start the process. After a few minutes, we're all set. There's my ornament, my holidays on main on one side and my Merry Christmas on the other, and we're good to go.